What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video my heart is heavy. I finally sat down and did more of a get ready with me, talking about my feelings when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement. I have been stewing over doing a video like this for quite a while now, but I am one of those people that I like to take a step back from a very important topic and kind of see everything that's going on around me, think about the history associated with that topic, what I know, maybe get even more research, see what society is doing to combat or support that topic or that movement, and go on from there. And that's basically what I've done the past week or so. I had a friend recently, literally last night, text me and ask me about my opinion on the pull up, shut up challenge. And so I took the time to kind of do a really quick research on that. And I gave her my opinion, and then I told her I was going to be doing this video soon. I just need to get my thoughts together, and she seemed really invested in my opinion, and that's why it's taken me so long to do this, because this is a topic that is very near and dear to me, very important to me, and I wanted to do the best that I could in the moment to express how I'm feeling, express my thoughts and my opinions. There were some points where I felt like I was fluid in my thoughts and my opinions, and then I just like jumped over. That's how my brain works. It's a little sporadic, but also is a little fluid. I didn't really tell you guys what is on my face at all. Mainly it was just me talking. So if you really want to know what's on my face, you're going to have to go down in the description box, because I purely didn't even say anything. I didn't talk about anything that went on my face. I was just putting stuff on while I was talking. But if you are really invested in hearing my opinion from my perspective, we all have different perspectives, but from my personal perspective, then just keep watching. I do want to hear your perspectives. I really do. This is one of the biggest videos that I feel like I really want to have you guys talking to me down below. I really want to have a conversation. Please do comment down below your opinions. If you agree with me, disagree with me, if you have sources that you would like people to know about, please, please, please put them down below. This will not be my only video on this topic, but it took me a little while to fully wrap my head over what was going on right now. So yeah, if you're interested in hearing my opinions, my thoughts, my perspective, then just keep watching. Hey guys, so I have taken about a week to process everything that is going on, and this is kind of my video giving you guys what I've processed so far. Without a doubt, this is not kind of my final decision, my final thoughts. This is just what is currently going on in my brain and my noggin, and I just want to express it with you guys. I feel as though, even though I have a very small channel, even though I have a very small community that I have built, it is still a community that I have built, and I feel as though I should make my voice be heard on this platform, and I should express my personal thoughts. I don't know, this is probably going to be more of a get ready with me than a shop my stash. I'm just going to throw some makeup on while I'm talking. But before I start, I did want to just point out my personal perspective. So in the past, I've never really told you guys definitively what my degrees have been in. Most recently, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know what my master's degree is in, but I'm just going to give you guys that background, that perspective, so that you'll know where I personally am coming from. So I think I'm going to zoom out a little bit more, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna zoom out like this. Okay, so for me, my undergrad was in anthropology. And anthropology, basically, very basic definition, is the study of humans, the study of people. There are different disciplines within the degree program, or there are different there are different aspects of anthropology. that people can identify with. And although I specifically do not necessarily identify with cultural anthropology, which would be the person that would really be honed in on this discussion and this understanding, I feel as though I'm starting to self-identify a little bit more with biocultural anthropologist. So I do understand the culture of people, the background history of people, but I also use the biological aspect, i.e. the skeletal remains, to learn more about that culture. So that is my undergrad. My master's degree was in African Studies. I very recently just graduated. I graduated in spring 2020. For my undergrad, I graduated spring 2016. So educationally wise, I know something. I don't know about a lot, but I know something when it comes to people. I know something when it comes to the African diaspora. And yeah, almost all of my research between both of my degree programs has been surrounded by the concept of race. Within the study of anthropology, it has been established, understood, and definitively defended. Wow. It has been established, understood, and defended that race is a social construct. It is not a biological construct. So for me, and when it comes to my research, I have always tried to understand truly where this construct has been established and why it is so ingrained into societies throughout the world. Okay, I'm getting really into this. I need to start putting makeup on. So that is my background. And like I said, I have my master's degree I just defended, which means my thesis was defended, and I have written a thesis. I have published it online, but I don't feel comfortable linking it, not because I'm not proud of it, because I am extremely proud of my thesis, but because then you guys will know my full name and all that, and that's just a little too close home. But okay, so for me, when it comes to what is going on in the US, I took some notes on my phone, so hopefully I can like say everything that I want, hopefully. It's very hard to do that, but I'm gonna try. So for me, what's going on in the US is, unfortunately, history is once again repeating itself. You saw very similar acts of defiance and community involvement and everybody coming together as a community in the I would say middle 1900s. That's when Black Power movements were going around, when MLK kind of stepped up and started to preach and speak on the rights that Black individuals within the United States did not have, when Malcolm X spoke and became kind of the person that really pushed forward the Black Power movement. All of these things already occurred in the United States. But I feel as though a lot of people know that, and that is why maybe they're currently doing what they're doing now. But I feel as though most people truly don't know enough history. They don't know far enough back. So for me, I'm going to take it all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade. I'm going back to the Arab slave trade. And this is a slave trade that occurred on the continent of Africa prior to European contact. So no Europeans were involved with creating this slave trade movement, from what I know. This is all from what I know. If I am wrong, feel free to correct me down below, and I will have no disrespect. I am still a student. I am still learning. Even though I have even though I have my master's degree, I am still learning, and I still want to learn more when it comes to this topic. But The Arab slave trade movement, from what I know, did not have any European contact, any European involvement at the beginning. It was Africans were selling other Africans to each other, but they were also selling it towards the East. So this is a period in time where slavery did not necessarily involve your skin tone, your ethnic group, because ethnic groups were how people were divided at this point in time. Ethnic groups and racial groups are dramatically different. Ethnic groups are all about your culture. So ethnic groups make up the language that you speak, the location that you live in, your job. It's a variety of things. It has very little, almost nothing to do with your physical features. Nothing. That is a racial group. Ethnic group is all about who you are as a person inside, what makes you a person, not your outside sources. But you were sold based on various reasons. Many people participated in the Arab slave trade movement willingly, and some participated unwillingly. The willing people were participating because they were too poor, they did not have the money, and so they would sell their services basically to a family that needed more services. These families that were buying slaves at this point were generally people who had farms and they needed farm hands. So it was different, and they weren't being treated terribly. They weren't being treated lovely. You know, I mean, you were still a slave to an extent, but you were able to eat with the family. You were able to live with the family. You weren't being beaten to a pulp, and you weren't the only one who was actually farming the lands that you were farming. So at this time, they were getting paid. Either their parents were getting paid for selling their children kind of permanently, or because they were more so willing to enslave themselves and work at whatever property they were working at, they were sending money back home themselves. So it was mainly more of a transactional expense. That is, in my way, how I think of the Arab slave trade movement. Then we had European contact, and once European contact occurred, various things happened. Okay, so Europeans brought with them different types of weapons, different types of food, all of that stuff. And they also saw the slave trade movement that was occurring on the continent, and they decided to use that as a template for their own gain. So at this point, Europeans have come to the continent. Of Africa. They have also come to North America. So when they're in North America, they're trying to find ways to build a colony. And so the involvement of Africans was, in hindsight, a good thing for them, because Africans were free, or very much so they didn't have to pay the Africans. Prior, Europeans had tried to enslave other people, many other people. From my research, I have found that they tried to enslave Native Americans, individuals from India and other countries in Asia, but for various reasons, they were not able to continue on with that enslavement, either due to disease or due to the fact that it cost too much to get those individuals from their location to North America or South America, because South America was being enslaved in the same manner. So Africans became like the Africans became the continent in which they were able to get people for less to nothing, and it was reasonable in price. So all of this is saying, I'm saying all of this because prior to this, race and racism was not established. After they established that Africans were an easy market of population, if you will, for them to exploit, to help build a new colony, they established this social construct, this identity, this labeling system. Now, I do want to point out that I believe that humans as a whole have to group people, have to group everything, have to label something. It's just a natural thing that humans do. So it was done in this case. And in this case, it was done in order to make sure that Europeans were superior, because they needed to explain why they could justify abusing a population. And this labeling system, of course, made Africans inferior. In between, you had other demographics throughout the world that Europeans and Africans became to come in contact with. And yeah, I've been talking for a long time. Yeah, so for me, knowing this background information of knowing that yes, slavery occurred prior to European involvement, but once Europeans became involved, it became not a contract between civilized people or individuals. It became a manipulative act in which they could take advantage of a population for their own gain, to create a colony that they felt they needed, and to abuse a population that they felt was inferior. And that is where I feel race and racism truly became a thing and really became a monster. You speed forward, like I said prior, to the 1970s, 50s to 80s. In between those years, where Black people in the United States are no longer willing to sit by and allow themselves to be manipulated, used, and abused. At this time period, you start to see movements, you start to see sit-ins, you start to see riots, Black Power movements. Like I said, you see MLK with the peaceful movements, you see Malcolm X with the perceived violent movements. Now, one thing I'd like to say about the Black Panthers is the Black Panthers, although they have guns, and this is plural, or this is current and present tense because there are still Black Panthers out there. Yes, they have guns, but the Black Panthers did and do so much for the communities other than being violent. The Black Panthers have a whole platform in which they talk about how they will provide education to those that otherwise won't have access to it. They provide food to those who otherwise don't have access to it. Daycare to those who otherwise don't have access to it, and more and more. The Black Panthers are people who just are saying enough is enough. We're going to provide for our people, and we're going to defend our people regardless of what you are going to do. And yes, the method in which they may have been different than, let's say, the nonviolence movement that MLK presented. Both movements were for pro-Black and for just getting Black individuals to have rights. That's it. So for me, kind of the negative connotation the Black Panthers get, I honestly don't understand and I don't like. I feel as though people don't truly, once again, know the background of that group, so they continue to just perpetuate what they're hearing, what they see in the news. And I mean, come on guys, we all know that the news will tell you what they want you to know. They will show you the snippets that they need you to see so that they can change your perspective, so that they can yield your mind to what they want you to think. So we're going to all of these movements, all of these sit-ins and stuff like that. And finally, rights are given to Blacks. Rights are given so that everybody is perceived to be equal. Everybody is given something that is a human right when they are born. So why are we currently in the situation that we are now? That is a very complicated question. And from what I can tell, from what I understand, from what I know, we are in our situation now because although Blacks were given rights and some things that some whites were doing that marginalized Blacks were removed, not all of those things were removed. And so we're starting to see a resurgence of individuals who think that, once again, they are superior and everybody else is inferior. So much to talk about. Okay. When it comes to how we as a community, as a people, are currently fighting back, I support everything that everybody is feeling because I think everybody has a right to feel how they feel. I cannot tell you how to feel and you can't tell me how to feel. I personally don't necessarily support the riots. I think that is very, very dangerous, and it not only hurts others, but it hurts ourselves as well. I feel as though that act of participating in a riot can prove somebody's ignorance to be valid. And I never want to prove to somebody that I am in a stupid person or a stupid monkey or whatever anybody will think of me. I don't ever want to prove that. And so for me, participating in riots could potentially open up a door for somebody to say, well, see what they're doing? They can't even keep their community together. And I don't want that. So for me personally, I don't necessarily support that. I do definitely support all of the marches, peaceful or violent, because I think, once again, everybody has a right to do what they want. Like I said, if you want to riot, you riot, but I personally, I can't support that. What I do hope that everybody does from now on is to really just pay attention, become more informed, understand possibly what is going on in your community, because not every community is the same. In my community, although I'm Black, although I'm not as nearly as big of a risk for my life as other people may be who have my same complexion, who are maybe darker, because my area is a little bit more forgiving, I guess is the word. I'm not in, let's say, Minnesota or currently in the South. I live in the North. In my local area, we are very much we're liberal. And so I don't have to worry as much. And so for me, I find that it's very important, even for me as a Black person to understand my, not my superiority, my privilege. I have privilege, even though I am a Black person. I am a Black educated woman. I have a master's degree, but I also am a middle class. So in so many different ways, you can be privileged. And I find that we all need to understand that you can't just blame all white people for things that their ancestors may or may not have done. You need to see the person for who they are. Yes, they may have privilege just because they are white. Yes, I may have privilege because I'm Black over another Black person, over somebody else who's not even Black. There are so many different types of privileges, but we all need to come together as a community, a grand community. And any ally, whether they're Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, all of it, we all need to come together as a community and fight for everybody to have the basic human rights. Everybody should have rights. Everybody. Ugh. So I went on a tangent and I don't even remember where I started. I think that we all need to understand our privilege. And we all need to take a very critical eye as to what is going on in our community, especially when it comes to your purchasing habits. Now for me, currently I am on a no buy, and this no buy year has honestly been the perfect year for me to choose to not buy makeup. But we all need to be very informed as to what brands are saying what. Now, I'm not going to say that, like, let's say Becca. I don't know because I haven't really been paying that much attention. I've been too busy trying to absorb my information in my head. Let's say Becca is out there fighting with everybody on the front lines of these marches, and they're posting all this stuff on their social media. I'm happy that they're doing that, but we also need to be critical. Are they doing it for the right reason, or are they doing it because they know that this is a serious situation that everybody is taking a consideration to look at right now, and that they could potentially be getting more people to purchase from them now and in the future if they strategize and position themselves in the right manner? Y'all have to understand this Black Lives Matter movement right now that has really been propelled and pushed even further than when it was previously by the death of George Floyd has been used and represented in multiple countries, multiple continents around the world. This is a huge movement. Huge, regardless if you are for it, regardless if you are against it. This is a movement that cannot be silenced at this point. It cannot be silenced. And so a lot of these brands, a lot of people are going to try and position themselves in a manner in which they are perceived to be supportive, perceived to be an ally. And I want everybody to be very critical of who is doing this. And if they truly are, look to see what they were talking about months prior. Were they actually pro Black Lives Matter, or do they just now pretend to be Black Lives Matter? In 2 years from now, are they still Black Lives Matter, or are they pretending to be Black Lives Matter? I want us to all be critical of this. And for that, I mean, it's some things that I find and I have seen on social media that I am very critical of is the fact that Texas Southern gave a full ride to George Floyd's daughter. Now, I'm happy that people are trying to support her and her family in their time of need, because I think that this is a time that nobody wants to go through. No parent should have to bury their child. No child should have to grow up without their parent because their parent was wrongly killed. None. But let's think about this. Why is Texas Southern giving a full ride to a 8-year-old girl who is nowhere near college age and also has not presented or even said, I would like to go to college, let alone I would like to go to Texas Southern? We need to be very critical of seeing what is going on and understanding why people are doing what they're doing. I've also seen that there's been a law that's passed. It's called the Brianna Taylor Law, in which stops a no-knock warrant. And this passed in Louisville. I'm happy that this passed, but once again, why is this needed? Why is there the ability for anybody to be able to just storm into a house without probable cause? There needs to be probable cause. Probable cause means that you need to physically be able to hear violent interactions going inside, or something that is like, you need to get in there within the minute, or your evidence is going to go bad, or somebody's going to get killed. Was that happening in her case? Was it? We also need to understand that there are allies who are dying in this movement. Not only people who are Black, who are African American, there are also others who are dying in this movement because of the tear gas. The tear gas is affecting people's conditions. Some people have asthma, some people have bronchitis, stuff like that. And the tear gas is literally affecting their lung breathing capacity. And people are dying for this movement. They're dying. This is such an important movement that I think we really need to understand how everybody truly is affected, embrace our allies, and see the potential commercial aspect that people are taking this movement as. And it's not a commercial aspect. This is people's lives. And although, like I said, I am privileged and I'm living in an area where right now I don't have to make sure that my windows are closed. I can have my windows open. I can run outside in my neighborhood without feeling like I'm going to be chased down and gunned. But still, we need to understand, we need to take everything as a holistic view and see and learn our own perspective. Get your own opinions. The Marines literally just made it illegal for any Confederate flags to be on any of their bases. NASCAR made it illegal for any Confederate flags to either be in their, what is it called? Their ranks. I don't know what NASCAR does. In the little buildings or on any of the people that are coming in there. Why was this still a thing that was legal? Why? This is something that we really need to deconstruct. This systematic racism that has been embedded so deeply, so naturally in our minds, in society, that we didn't even think it was important until so many lives have been killed, so many lives have been brought down, people have been killed so early, to finally realize, why is this still a thing? Why are we still letting people allow this to be okay? The KKK, it's still legal. It's still a thing. I've seen around, there is I think a GoFundMe, or maybe a petition. There's something going around to make the KKK illegal. Why is that still a thing that's being able to be legal? I truly and fundamentally don't understand why we as a people have gone through so much from the Arab slave trade movement till now, and these things that you would think are not allowed, you would think should no longer be accepted in our society, in a society that has had a Black president. Why? Why? The Air Force just promoted their first African American, black, from what I can tell, commander-in-chief, not commander-in-chief, but CO. Why? Why is this still a thing that we're having so many first? I'm fundamentally not understanding this. Somebody had to petition to the Merriam-Webster dictionary for them to change the definition to racism. Why? Why do we have to petition? Why do we have to ask in order for it to be done? Why can't it just be a natural, innate thing for everybody to understand that we are all equal? We are all people. This topic, this movement is so big, so large, so impactful that there are just no words. There are none. I mean, my heart literally breaks for people who are in areas where they are scared for their lives. Literally scared for their lives in a time where everybody is honestly scared for their lives because of this pandemic. I mean, 2020 has literally just had so much things go along, and it's just mind-boggling that we are still where we are. What is the main factor in which what is the main factor in which allows these huge events of racist ideology to continue to perpetuate? What is it, the one factor that keeps bringing these people's ideologies back again, when we have proven multiple times, multiple different disciplines, multiple different studies, multiple different fields have proven that racism and race is not a biological thing, and racism is a social construct. So what is the thing that keeps bringing this back? For me, that thing that I can feel the pinpoint, the one thing, is the economy. People seem to always want to blame others for their misfortunes, for their faults, for anything that they think they did not do. Race was established prior and during the transatlantic slave trade so that Europeans could build the United States and its colonies prior to the United States for free. They didn't want to spend money. So at that point, they were trying to keep their economy, or whatever they considered their economy, afloat. Then you run further and you get to the Civil War, where once again there's a huge class of race and racist ideologies. And what is going on? They're fighting to keep their slaves, the slaves that are the manual labor, so that they can farm their cotton fields and their other farms for their economy. Their economy. Then you come now, and what was one thing that truly broke the camel's back? Was it this pandemic, where people now continued to lose their jobs? Was it prior? All the immigration, the ideology that only certain people are allowed to live in the land of the free? What is it about economy, money, consumerism that people truly and honestly believe it's only for them. I mean, I just, this whole situation, the whole situation, I'm just trying to understand. And I really just don't. I don't understand what people, why people are so economically driven. Why the economy is that important to people that they continue to kill and kill others, marginalize others, enslave others, which debatably we could say the prison system is a current enslavement system. So what is it? Why is it that this is okay? Why is it that in our society it took so many people getting killed for us as a whole to come together? Why? I truly don't understand the reasoning. I truly personally can't give you an answer. All I can know is that this is kind of where I'm at in my thought process. This is where I believe we are as a people. We as a society are just, we've never truly addressed the hurt, the crippling, and the abuse that occurred during the transatlantic slave trade and subsequently during the slavery system that actually occurred in this country. We've never truly addressed it, and I think because of that, we are going to unfortunately continue to have these problems until we do. I think we are. I hope and pray and beg to myself that we will figure it out, that we as a people will be able to get it together. But I don't know. As far as I've seen, history is just repeating itself. It really is. And I hope that people take the time to learn more of the history, learn more of what people have already gone through, what people are going through. And then we can truly figure out how to move forward as everybody, not just Black people, not just the allies, as humans, everybody together, Americans. We as Americans have not fully deconstructed our systematic racism, but we also have not addressed it either. And until we do, I don't think things will change. I unfortunately truly don't. But I feel as though I have talked my head off. My heart goes out to all the families who are currently dealing with a death, to all of the individuals who are fighting for their lives, either in these marches, in hospitals because they have been, because something has happened to them, whether it is because of this pandemic or because of this movement. My heart goes out to everybody. This has just been a very, very eye-opening period of time, I feel, for everybody around the world. I have watched many videos from individuals who aren't in the US, and they're fighting for this movement in their own way. And this is such an important movement to me, such an important movement, and I have no words. I will have down below some resources that I have found, various methods in which you can potentially support if you would like to support. I would never force anybody to do anything beyond what they want to do. Like I said, we all have the right to feel and do what we want, but yeah, I think that's all I can say at this point. I can't say anything else. Wow, I did not expect that to all happen. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion, you guys' thought process, whether you have more information on something that I have said and you think I am wrong. Please put it down below. I am fair game to be more informed about this. Like I said, I am a student. It's that simple. I'm a student and I want to learn more as well. And so I would love to be given more information if you have it. I'm not gonna link any academic articles. I feel as though, yeah, if you personally want to talk to me and you personally really do want some academic articles, then just hit me up on Instagram. I will surely give you some. Like I said, this was my whole thesis. I looked at race in multiple different countries. I looked at it in the United States, in Brazil, in South Africa, and in Rwanda. So I feel as though I have a halfway decent understanding. I mean, like I said, I have my master's degree. I do not have a PhD. And in a PhD, I would say, you know, I'm an expert, but I'm not an expert. Your girl is just here trying to understand, like everybody else, what is going on. What is going on? It's just, oh, it's just mind-boggling. Wow, that was a lot. I think I'm just gonna hop off camera, finish the rest of my face, and then I'll come back to kind of close this out. So in closing, I hope that we as a community, as people, as Americans, all come together to eradicate all of the systematic racism that is currently established, as well as to educate everybody. Ways that I believe you can eradicate systematic oppression or oppression and racism, is to become a part of the system, to physically be in the nooks and crannies and change the things that are changing. You see it every day. You see more Black people becoming cops, more Black people becoming lawyers. All that stuff will help to change systematic oppression. When it comes to being more educated, I think it starts off with our children. There's so many people who are scared to talk to their kids about racism, what's going on today, and I think that we need to change that mindset. I don't have any kids, but I do talk to my nephew when I can about how he feels about what's going on, and we talk it out. Like I said before, everybody has a right to feel the way they want even kids. If kids are mad and angry, let them be mad and angry, but also tell them, okay, but why are you mad and angry? Let's talk this through. I think there's so much left to talk about when it comes to this topic of Black Lives Matter, but I have talked for quite a bit of time, and I've thought for quite a bit of time. I still want to possibly do some more talking videos about this topic if you guys are interested, depending on how you guys kind of digest this video. We'll see what happens. I also want to more blatantly produce more videos that are all about Black makeup, Black beauty. I will also, hopefully on the screen right now, I will show, I found some screenshots of different brands that are Black owned in the beauty community. That includes skincare, nail polish, makeup, all of that jazz. I have in the past done a really good job, I believe, in really purchasing from brands that are makeup that are Black owned brands, but not necessarily skincare and nail polish. And I will be changing that. I will also hopefully be finding it in my budget to support financially all of these different movements that are needed, and whatever I can find I will have linked down below for you guys. Like I said throughout this video, I just hope everybody takes the time to really think holistically, take a step back, which is what I did this past week, and just see what is happening, and see and think about what you want your children to see you as. Do you want your children to see you as sitting back not doing anything, or do you want your children to see you fighting for history, fighting for what's right? Whatever you think is right, do it. But I think that's all I have. I'm not gonna keep rambling on. I really didn't show any of the makeup that I put on today. I will do my best to have that link down below and listed down below. I don't even know if, I think one or two were Black owned brands. I honestly was just pulling makeup that was near me. I will be doing the Balm challenge soon for the first time. I've never done it, so I will be doing that soon. And I think for real, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.